Michigan Replay with Bo Schembechler and Jim Brandstatter is brought to you by General Motors, the mark of excellence. By Buick and your Buick dealers, the great American road belongs to Buick. By Payne Weber, serving the financial needs of individual, corporate, and institutional clients. By Unisys, the computer company that works with you to produce solutions for you. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Replay. The Wolverines defeat Purdue on Saturday, 42-27. And before we get to the highlights and the body of the show, I have to tell you about Coach Schembechler. He once told us there's a difference between playing with pain and injury. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Schembechler's playing with pain today.
Not pain, but no voice.
Where did the voice go? Is it a virus, or are you just yelling at officials too much?
I've had a strep throat for a week, Jim. Probably would have killed an ordinary man, but I'm here today.
Okay. Michigan's victory over Purdue, also the 700th for the University of Michigan. Best in Division 1A, isn't that something?
Right. Best of any school west of the Alleghenies. Only Yale has won more games.
But you said after the game that maybe Fielding H. Yost wasn't too happy with this one.
Fielding looked down from heaven and said, "What is it you're doing down there, Bo?"
Well, after the first series of downs, you wonder if Purdue, a passing team, and yet they get loose on the ground.
Right. Well, it's a missed tackle here by Alex Marshall that probably is some indication of what we're going to have today. And they get out to midfield, and he goes back to throw again and begins this scrambling. And as he's falling down, he throws a completion.
He was good with the scramble.
Vincent.
He could scramble and throw falling down.
About as well as anybody we played against in a long time, Jim. Now, we did sack him when we blitzed now and then, but that doesn't always work. Here they went back to kick a field goal. It's wide to the left, and so now we'll take over for our first possession. And this is the second play from scrimmage. Tony Boles breaks it outside for 21-yard advance and a first down. And we come right. This is the second play. We lead out here. Leroy Horde on a screen pass. Gets outside. Goes down about the 40-yard line. And we're pressing him real quick right now. The counter play. The old counter play that's been so effective the last couple of weeks. Tony Boles outruns their corner for a touchdown. And it's 4 plays, 77 yards, and we're on the board.
Your first possession, it looked like it was going to be easy at that point.
That's probably the problem, Jim. It looked like it was going to be easy.
And then they give you the break. They turn it over for you.
Turn it over, and we recover the fumble. And I think we run Leroy Horde here. No, this is the pass play in which I thought Michael Taylor threw a tremendous pass to Desmond Howard, a young receiver, who caught it for a touchdown. So we're up 14-0 right now, Jim.
And here's where his scrambling starts to really take over.
Yeah, about as well as anybody you've ever seen, isn't it?
And the other thing is, he's so big. He's 6'4".
6'4", 200 and some pounds. He's not a little guy at all. And he can shake off tackles fairly well. Here he runs an option play, which is they hadn't used before, and got effective yardage doing that. Here's where, see, he just steps out and dodges. We go flying through the air and throws this ball on the run all the way down here for a touchdown to Williams, their fine receiver.
Now, how do you defend that when you got a guy like that? You have to shadow him with somebody?
Well, you'd like to keep him inside, but he's moving up inside the pocket and then breaking back outside. Here's a tailback delay in which Tony Boles gets real good yardage. Michael goes back to pass again, comes over to Greg McMurtry up near midfield.
They were single covering your wideouts all day.
Entirely. They intended to stop the run by playing man-to-man coverage so they can support people quicker when those people block. That's why they didn't give us a lot of zone coverage. Here's a trap play with Leroy Horde breaking loose, getting down inside the 5-yard line and almost in the end zone. And then I think we give the ball to Tony Boles here on the sweep to the left, and Tony goes in to score. and it's 21-7.
At 21-7, you really got it going your way, other than the broken play scramble, and then you come back just before half and get things going again.
Right. First thing we did, there's not much time left. We went to the quarterback draw, picked up significant yardage, went back again on second down, screened right over here to Tony Boles, and he breaks out on a real long play. Thought for a minute he might go all the way, but one had a angle on him and got him out of bounds.
Michael Taylor gets hurt, and you come back with Elvis Gerback again.
Right. Michael sprained his foot, bottom of his foot, and so Gerback comes back, throws a nice ball here to Chris Callaway, who makes a great catch, and it's 28-7.
One of the big concerns at half with Michael Taylor's injury, how is it? Is he going to be ready for next week?
Well, I'm not a doctor, Jim, but it's not a significant injury that should keep him out. But then again, it may be troublesome. I don't think we ought to make any judgment on it till Monday or Tuesday, but he must get into practice by Tuesday.
Well, Michael Taylor's injury certainly was a problem, but the Wolverines have a big second half of highlights coming your way. But first, let's hear from a rather sure-handed receiver who doesn't drop too many, but did against Purdue.
I knew going in I hadn't dropped the ball this season, and you know, I was just trying to score with it too early before catching the ball and got caught in the wind. So, but I remember the drops, and I just try to come back and try to improve on it. It was bump and run. I knew he was going to be, you know, pressed up, bump and run. You know, I just stuck him to the inside and went downfield, and the ball was up in the air a little bit, so I had to slow down, get him on my back, and it was there. It was a perfect throw.
For a nice cold bud?
And where does she come from?
It's a feeling of power, of substance and style. You know that you're on your way. The great American road belongs to Buick. Oh, the moment has come to go your way. The road, your Buick and you. Oh, the great American road belongs to Buick.
89% of CEOs surveyed believe their companies are too short-term oriented. You need a computer company that really knows your business to plan for the long term. Call Unisys.
Insurance adjuster tells me this morning he can't cover putting GM parts on this GM car. Says his company's policy is to use generic equivalents. So I told him my policy, no copycats. See, most imitation parts don't fit like genuine GM parts. And they don't come with as good a warranty either. So remember, even if insurance is paying the bill, it's still your car, and it's your choice. Insist on genuine GM parts.
We've seen drop back passes, we've seen passing teams all day, but none is mobile and is just go out and kind of like to say, do what you can. It's like, you know, it's like one-on-one basketball down at the court. It's not really a set play. I mean, you line up and you'll tell someone, hey, you go run this and you run that. But then once you start scrambling, it's just a part of getting open. That makes it tough. It makes the defensive lineman weary, and it also makes the DBs keep their heads on the swivel the whole time.
Of course, Jeff Wellborn talking about Eric Hunter, Purdue's scrambling quarterback, and in the second half, I really thought that you had him figured out, because in the third quarter, you kept him pretty well bottled up.
Yeah, we did, and put some pressure on him and got a turnover and thought we had him in control. I think we did until the punts were blocked.
All right, with a scrambling quarterback like that, the pressure's really got to come through the middle, doesn't it?
Well, no, Jim. Really, you have to keep him in from the outside, but the problem is you can't rush too many guys. And, of course, here he had too much pressure coming up the middle. But he could get out from underneath the outside rush and then get back outside. Now, this was a strong safety blitz by Wellborn. That's the reason he wasn't ready for that one and fumbled the ball.
And that gives you the opportunity, and you're leading at this point 28-7. You got a great break.
We run Leroy Horde in here twice on the goal line. And the second time he goes in for the touchdown. And now we're ahead 35-7. So the game's in control, or let's put it this way, it should be in control.
So now this, you feel it, you know, maybe you let down a little bit with that big lead?
Well, we let down because we did a bad job here. This is ridiculous. This is just someone not carrying out their assignment and doing a good job. And so the punt is blocked. And that's embarrassing. No good football team would let that happen.
And that gave Purdue the momentum, and then he started to get time. And when he sets his feet, he's got a rifle.
Time, and then he just gunned that one in there to this young Oglesby, who's a very fine football. He's a local kid here. And matter of fact, he's got a brother playing there now that's a very fine player in high school.
But Tony Boles answers that score.
We answered that real nicely. This was first time in a long time I can remember.
17 years.
17 years. Well, that's a long time, Jim.
Well, you made a good point, though. That means that you're not receiving a lot of kicks, though, which isn't too bad.
That's right. You're probably not receiving. Your kickoff return teams are usually teams that receive a lot of kickoffs. He's scrambling around here now, and notice how he goes back to the other side. But that one was an errant pass, and he didn't use good judgment there. And David Key intercepted for us. And so now we have the football.
Allen Jefferson
ripping off a good gain on the counter play, broke it outside.
Get some extra yards on the unnecessary roughness. Then you come back and...
By the same token, we miss a blitz here. Miss a blitz, and you end up with a fumble. And
these are the mental mistakes that are happening because of the big...
There's no excuse for the fumble, let's put it that way. The quarterback does not fumble the ball. However, that's terrible that we didn't pick up the blitz. This is a screen pass to Oglesby, and he has a great run here. I was sure he's going to make it all the way.
He's a quick little receiver.
Yes, he is. He's not very big, but he's a competitive and quick little devil. So here they're running around again, and he turns and throws, and Beta has his back to him, and he hits it to Williams here for a touchdown.
At 42-21, you got to be saying, now, wait a minute. I saw these guys against Michigan State the week before get close. Do you think it's happening again?
Well, you know, I don't know what's happening again. We had pretty much an insurmountable lead, but still, you know, you don't like to see these things happening.
Move the ball well through the air, your next possession, but then again, the sack.
Yeah, 3rd and 2 here. This is a bad play. It's a bad play by the quarterback. He had no business bailing out of there and getting in trouble. And then this one was tipped again. And those are the things that really make you look bad. And in a close game, Jim, undoubtedly will lead to your defeat.
There he goes again. He got hit and yet is able to complete the pass.
That's the way he tackled it. Fell around his legs down to the bottom. You don't tackle a guy who's trying to throw a football at.
You got to get this guy up top.
This Williams, very fine receiver, one of the best in the league.
Is this the time when Fielding is looking down on this game?
Yes, I think he's wondering what's going on down there right now and not happy with what he sees.
42-27. They missed the extra point, and, you know, while the game is still out, they go for the onside kick.
Well, the amazing thing about the onside kick, Jim, is we recovered the first one, and an official who, where he came from, I don't know, but he called us for not having 5 men in the restraining area between the 45 and the 50. Well, truth of the matter is we had 5 men there to start with. The man doesn't know how to count. And the other officials suspicioned that he had made a colossal mistake, but would not overrule him because it wasn't their call. So we end up giving them a second chance, and then the second chance, they recovered it. Now, that in a big game could beat you, too.
And Veda Murray intercepts, though, late to stop it from happening, and you really get out of a game where the second half you just let down and let it get away a little bit.
Well, we just didn't play well. I mean, it's not that we let it get away. We didn't play well. We didn't play well on offense because we didn't pick up the blitzes, and we were erratic with the ball. And we didn't play well on defense because, in my judgment, we missed too many tackles, didn't quite contain the man as well as we should have. And I think that we were a little hesitant there in the secondary, and they got guys open, and we eventually hit them. And the third thing that was bad was the kicking game. So when you add offense, defense, and kicking together, Jim, that is a complete fundamentals 0. And so there's a lot of work that has to be done before we play this big game in Champaign, Illinois.
I guess there's a lot of work, and don't go away. We'll be back with a progress report from Bo on this Michigan football team after 8 games. But first, let's hear from one of those Michigan stalwarts who has thoughts on why it was tougher than expected against Purdue.
It's more mental. I mean, we lost the mentality that we had when we started the game, and we lost that. And, you know, we kind of figured, well, they're not as hard as we thought, and they were really a tough team to play. And, you know, they took advantage of us. You know, we weren't giving them any credit, and they deserved a lot more credit than we gave them. And they were coming with the blitzes, they were tackling hard, and I guess we kind of underestimated them after we got points on the board.
Probably is some indication of what we're going to have today. And they get out to midfield, and he goes back to throw again and begins this scrambling. And as he's falling down, he throws a completion.
He was good with the scramble.
Benson.
He could scramble and throw falling down.
About as well as anybody we played against in a long time, Jim. Now, we did sack him when we blitzed now and then, but that doesn't always work. Here they went back to kick a field goal. It's wide to the left, and so now we'll take over for our first possession. And
Michigan Replay with Bo Schembechler and Jim Brandstatter is brought to you by General Motors, the mark of excellence. By Buick and your Buick dealers, the great American road belongs to Buick. By Payne Weber, serving the financial needs of individual, corporate, and institutional clients. By Unisys, the computer company that works with you to produce solutions for you.
This is the second play from scrimmage. Tony Boles breaks it outside for 21-yard advance and a first down. And we come right. This is the second play. We lead out here. Leroy Horde on a screen pass, gets outside, goes down about the 40-yard line, and we're pressing him real quick right now. The counter play, the old counter play that's been so effective the last couple of weeks. Tony Boles outruns their corner for a touchdown, and it's 4 plays, 77 yards, and we're on the board.
Your first possession, it looked like it was going to be easy at that point. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Replay. The Wolverines defeat Purdue on Saturday, 42-27. And before we get to the highlights and the body of the show, I have to tell you about Coach Schembechler. He once told us there's a difference between playing with pain and injury. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Schembechler's playing with pain today.
Not pain, but no voice.
Where did the voice go? Is it a virus, or are you just yelling at officials too much?
I've had a strep throat for a week, Jim. Probably would have killed an ordinary man, but I'm here today.
Okay. Michigan's victory over Purdue, also the 700th for the University of Michigan. Best in Division 1A, isn't that something?
Right, best of any school west of the Alleghenies. Only Yale has won more games.
But you said after the game that maybe Fielding H. Yost wasn't too happy with this one.
Fielding looked down from heaven and said, "What is it you're doing down there, Bo?"
Well, after the first series of downs, you wonder, Purdue, a passing team, and yet they get loose on the ground.
Right, well, it's a missed tackle here by Alex Marshall that